Welcome to Alaska.
You look so pretty when you tell me that you love me. I wish that I could lie, but my mind gets in the way. I know you think that I'm always way too self-aware.
Chances are, if you're watching this video, that means an Alaskan cruise is also on your bucket list, which means you have a lot of questions and you need to try and figure out what exactly you want to do, what cruise ship to take, and where to allocate your money, where I think from experience it makes the most sense and it's going to give you the most bang for your buck. So buckle in. We have a few different chapters you can find below if you have anything specific, and we're going to get started, starting with the boat that we chose. As someone who has done many cruises, I love a cruise. I decided to completely switch it up for my Alaskan cruise because I knew this was a thing that I've been looking forward to for a very long time, a destination that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to go to a lot, like some of the Caribbean itineraries. And so I decided to go with Virgin Voyages. Specifically, we were on the Brilliant Lady ship. There are a few reasons for this. One of the best thing about Virgin Voyages, in my opinion, is that it is the cruise ship for people who aren't sure or don't like cruise ships. It is unlike any other boat I have ever seen before. There are over 20 eateries. The sea terraces are beautiful with the hammocks. There are private areas that you can upgrade to, like Richard's rooftop, which gives you access to private hot tubs, which is going to be really key on those glacier days or days where everyone's up on those top decks to try and see the views that you're sailing through and not out port. It is adult only, which I think is a very big plus because when you're trying to fit everything in and you're trying to enjoy nightlife and a relaxing vacation, sometimes having it be adults only really gives it that added plus. And one of my favorite things was Scarlett Night on the sea days, which is sometimes people's main concerns. There is a whole night that Virgin Voyages does, which is essentially like a red party. And throughout the whole day and night, there are even more extras on the cruise ship, like dance parties, karaoke with the Happenings cast, extra trivia, and just so many different things. And everyone on the boat is wearing red, and there's performances, and it's super special. And it makes that last sea day feel like an entire port and activity of its own. As I mentioned with the different types of rooms, we decided to go with the sea terrace. Now, in my opinion, if you are splurging and you're booking a bunch of excursions, but you have a basic interior cabin, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Spend that few extra dollars, get a sea terrace room, because unlike a lot of other itineraries, the destination and the actual journey to the destination is part of the trip. It is amazing to go through all of these interior passages that you'll go on the 7-night Alaskan cruise with Virgin Voyages. There is different mountain ranges. You could see orcas, you can see other types of whales. We saw sea otters, and that's all from our balcony before we even get to a port or destination. And so having that sea terrace where you have your own separate space to just unwind, relax, get room service, or bring food and drinks back to your room with the special cozy red blankets, sit on your own terrace and take it all in without hundreds of other people on the ship around you, really made all the difference, and it made it a very romantic and private experience for me and Jean. Aside from that, on the boat, like I said, there are 20 eateries. How this works is there's not typical buffet type dining on the Virgin Voyages ships. On other cruises, there's one main dining hall. There's sometimes extra restaurants that you can pay more money for, and then there's a huge buffet style that's always there. That is not how Virgin works, and it just makes it feel so elevated. So instead, there's 20 eateries all over the boat, starting with their version of buffet, which is the galley. And now this is going to give you things like Diner Dash, the burger bar, bento box, the taco stand, an ice cream stand. There's a hot dog area and a candy area. There's a ramen bar. I mean, the list goes on and on. Oh, and there's a pizza place. They all have different menu items all the time. You go up, you order what you want. It is prepared for you. There's all types of different cuisines. And I really liked how that felt like I was picking kind of like a different place to have lunch or dinner all the time. And that's before we even get to the different restaurants on board. So like I mentioned, typically it's one big dining hall. You make a reservation every single night and it kind of has an alternate menu. But by the end of a typical cruise, you're like, I have had this French onion soup for 6 nights in a row. And that is not the case with Virgin. So as soon as you book your trip, depending on which tier you get, you'll get access to go in before you board and make your reservations. If you're rockstar status like we were able to get up to 45 days early. So we were able to make our reservations right away, not even worry about a thing. There are enough restaurants aboard that we were able to go to a different restaurant every single night, which was so fun. There's everything from a Korean barbecue, a test kitchen with a Michelin star inspired chef. There's an Italian place. There's a Mexican place, there's a steakhouse, the list goes on, and it is just so good. Every single thing we got was amazing, and it really felt like such an experience, being like, oh, we're going to try dinner at this place tonight, and talk to other people on board, and then be like, oh my God, that was my favorite one, you got to try this. And the best part of all those is that is all included already with the purchase of your cruise, so you don't have to worry about spending extra money. It is still all included with the food, and then same with your beverage, your basic beverage packets like soda, iced teas, coffee, all that sort of stuff. And then if you want to upgrade and get a drink package for premium drinks like wines, beers, cocktails, anything like that, you can add that on either prior for a little bit of extra credits, or you can get it anytime that you're on board. Okay, so enough about the ship. Let's talk destinations and excursions that we did and what I would say is worth your money and things that you definitely shouldn't miss. We did the Inside Passage and Dawes Glacier, 7 nights on the Brilliant Lady Virgin Voyages Alaskan Cruise, like I said. The ship was beautiful. It is just in 2026 begin its voyages through Alaska, and I just think they're nailing it so early on, which is kind of unheard of. After your first sea day, your first port is going to be Ketchikan, Alaska. Now, if you're anything like me, I was really looking forward to Ketchikan. I had always seen pictures of Creek Street, and it did not disappoint. I definitely recommend allotting yourself enough time to be able to walk around, see all the shops, look at the totem village, all those types of things, because it's really beautiful. And if you're there in certain times of the year, you'll be able to see the salmon come through. We weren't able to in July, but definitely look that up because I've heard that's magnificent. As far as what we did and what I would recommend is, even if you see something that's amazing, I recommend booking all your excursions through Virgin Voyages, because they're going to make sure that you're never late. You won't miss getting back on the boat. It's just safer that way, and it made me not have any sort of anxiety or feel stressed or rushed or anything like that. What we decided to do, because we knew that getting fresh king crab legs was a really popular thing but at a high price point, is we tried to pick an excursion that was going to be something fun and cultural that also came with food like crab legs. So we did the all-you-can-eat crab plus the lumberjack show grouped in one. I can put a picture of kind of what that looks like. This was also nice because it started at 11, so it wasn't like first thing in the morning. We were able to have breakfast on the boat and then disembark, and we were able to head over where we got sat, and we had, buckets of fresh crab legs. They were so good. If you're vegetarian, they also have a pasta option. They have different options for you if seafood is not your thing. Everybody loved it, and we were able to learn a little bit more about Ketchikan and the culture and the people, and why it is such a busy port stop and location and destination that people visit in the thousands now. As soon as you're finished up with your lunch there, you are taken over into where the lumberjack show is going to be. How they did it for us is it was like Team US versus Team Canada, and they split the crowd too, so you were always cheering for someone. It was super interactive. It was so funny. Also really impressive seeing what these guys do. The MC of the whole thing was awesome. We got to learn a little about each of them. It was just such a fun time. I would definitely suggest, if you're going to port in Ketchikan, to definitely check out a lumberjack show. I think it was such a great way to feel like you were really immersed in Ketchikan. And obviously you get that all-you-can-eat crab, which was just amazing. After that, we walked around the shops. Like I said, we got a few souvenirs for people. There was even little souvenirs that we were able to get for our cats, and it was just gorgeous. We really lucked out with weather in mid-July, so that's another thing to time. I think July and August are like peak, but sometimes in July you can get a little rain, so I think we just got lucky. Okay, port 2 is going to be Sitka, and this is where a lot of people know because of the movie The Proposal, which is also how Gene and I had heard of Sitka before, although I don't think that was actually filmed there. Sitka was really exciting. This was the next day, and now Sitka is on a sound. It is absolutely beautiful. This is where you're going to see a lot of those like big snow-capped mountains. A few things to know about this, and again, this is why I recommend, if you're going to book an excursion, just do it through Virgin Voyages. Don't try and plan it on your own, is because with Virgin Voyages, we were ported, like we docked about 10 to 15 minute shuttle ride away from where most of the excursions were going to be. So if you're trying to plan something and you don't really know that, you also have to be able to get on the shuttle, which you can pre-reserve. I can put the link right here if you want, but it wasn't super crazy, and there was 2 boats docked that day and we were able to just get right on. So definitely think about that before you book. But back to excursions. Some of the excursions that are going to be all about whales and stuff are going to have pretty insane price tags. So what I decided to do was to do one that wasn't as long, and it was actually the sea otter and wildlife excursion. Now this also, we saw so many whales. We saw humpback whales and gray whales. We must have seen about from 8 to 10 different whales while we were on there, but we were also able to see sea otters, sea lions, bald eagles. I mean, the list goes on and on. It was so cool. And we saw the first group of sea lions within, 10 minutes of taking off from the dock on our smaller boat. They brought us around for 2.5 hours. Snacks and drinks were included with our ticket price. And I just think this one was really the biggest bang for your buck that you can do in Sitka. But make sure you can go on Shore Things on the Virgin Voyages app after you book, and you can look at all the different excursions and shore things that you can book through there. There are so many to choose from, and you really can't go wrong because you're in Alaska. One last thing about Sitka before we get back on board and go to our next destination. If anyone here is big in the souvenirs or getting themselves a little tchotchke, I recommend looking in Sitka over any other port. I just think they had the most options, and they had really cool designs, at least for like crew necks and sweatshirts, which is what I ended up getting. That's just a little pro tip. Okay, now buckle up, because you might already be like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I can't believe anything would ever beat what these last 2 days were. But then you're going to Dawes Glacier, which was probably the most unreal day of my life. And I've been traveling full time in a bus for 6 years. So that's saying something. The next day is going to be the Inside Passage going to Dawes Glacier. It is insane. Wake up early. I'm talking like once you get into the Inside Passage, you could potentially see some really cool whales breaching. So we woke up at 5 a.m. Listen, there is a coffee shop right upstairs. You can go get breakfast, wake up early, get breakfast delivered to your room. Gene and I woke up, we opened up our curtains, we grabbed our red fuzzy blankets that Virgin Voyages left in our room, and we went out on our balcony, and we didn't move for hours. Make sure to check specifically. It will be all around the boat, and it will also be on your app, and it should also be on your tablet. You can pull it up what time you're going to get to Dawes Glacier, because you are going to want to go all around the boat when that's happening, up in the hot tubs. But for the first couple hours, as you're pulling in, you're going past waterfalls, you start to see icebergs in the water, at least in July. That balcony was insane. Now, if you decided you didn't want to spend the money on a balcony, you can go up to decks like 15, 16, and 17. You're going to get beautiful views, or you can go interior in like the galley or something, and you'll also get great views. I mean, heck, if you're in the gym, you could also get great views. If you want to get a little workout in as you're going through the icebergs, I mean, I don't blame you. That is, I mean, how do you beat that? I believe it was around 10:30 or 11 a.m. when we actually pulled up to the glacier itself, and now the boat is going to turn. So don't get panicked if you can't see it perfectly. You will have a solid like hour to 2 hours to be able to see an up close glacier. I can't even express to you, like it was just the most unreal thing ever. Now you can also book through Virgin to get on a tinier boat and go like a lot closer. We decided to just opt out of that. We had done so many excursions already, but from people who have done that, they've said it's unreal, and you're like covered. You're not like out in like the freezing weather. It is cold during this day, at least in July. That's my caveat. This happened in July and it was cold. So I had on like my fleece lined sweater, a beanie, boots, and like I was still outside on like deck 16 being like, it's time to go back inside and watch this from afar. But this is the most special afternoon. Try not to book yourself up. Just take it in. You're in a glacier in Alaska. Okay, you're not in it. You're by a glacier in Alaska. It's unbelievable. It's going to be the best day. Well, I don't know. I guess that's your opinion. It was the best day, and I didn't even leave the boat that day. And then you might think it's over, but it's not, because now you've just seen that. You have a wave of adrenaline. You're having the best time ever. And now you're going to sail right back out of it. You could see, this is when we saw some more sea otters getting up onto icebergs. Like, I was like, what in the world? Then you're going to make your way to your next port, which is Prince Rupert, BC. So welcome to Canada. As people who travel to Canada in our bus every single summer because we love it so much, Prince Rupert was also just stunning. We walked around. We decided to not do any excursions that day, but I know there's a trolley tour. There's a lot of like bear exhibits in this location. So if you want to see bear habitats and sanctuaries, There are a lot of excursions for you through Virgin again. But we decided to just walk around. We got some food, we shopped a little bit, and it was really, really cool. There's a lot of history there in connection with like indigenous culture and this boat that came from Japan, its sister city. It's really cool. We went to the museum, which was $8 USD for each of us, and we walked around and learned about all of it. So if you're a history buff, really cool place. And then it leads us to our final day. You're going to be so sad it's ending because like we just kept saying this is a once in a lifetime, like just to see all of that for the first time and to do it with Virgin, which was so fun. And it was just such a perfect experience. So your last day for us is Scarlett Night. Again, you'll be able to find out through the app when your Scarlett Night is going to be. I believe it's usually a sea day, but just check and make sure you bring something red if you want to participate. But it was like the perfect kind of send-off night. We had so much fun. We danced, we did trivia. I poorly did karaoke. There was no shame in the game. The manor was just so beautiful to walk through. It is like a really cool club. We went to the casino. I just think that we hit every single part of the boat that night, and we were just having so much fun, and we never wanted it to end. And then it was time to dock back in Seattle, which is like such a beautiful place to disembark and say goodbye to Virgin. And it was such an easy thing. You were able to book your own time that you wanted to get off the boat. So we picked 9 a.m. We're like, let's have a slow morning. We have been dancing and singing and having the best time ever. So let's sleep in a little bit, and you can just leave your luggage out the night before. They'll take it off the boat, or you can just walk straight out with it. And just like that, we were done with our first ever Virgin Voyages cruise. Definitely not our last. I am officially a Virgin Voyages girl. Jean completely agrees. I just think that it was that next level up type of experience of a cruise that I've never experienced before on other cruises, and I've been on over 5 cruises. If that is something you're interested in, we do have a few discounts through Virgin that we have at our link, and they're exclusively at our link, and that is up to like $200 of sailor loot, which means onboard credit that you can use on anything, premium drinks, spa packages, shore thing excursions, anything, if you book your cruise using the link that will be down in our description. And right now they're having their best discount you can find, which is 70% off your second sailor and up to $300 in onboard credit. So again, you don't have to remember everything I said. I can have some stuff on the screen, and I will put that all in our description. And thank you so much, Virgin Voyages, for partnering with us and sending us on the trip of a lifetime. I loved it so much. I have talked to everyone who I possibly can about it. If anyone has any questions about an Alaskan cruise, Virgin Voyages, anything like that, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Like I said, I'll talk your ear off about this. I've been known to do so. But for now, we are back in Oregon. I'm going to go meet Jean, bike around a little bit, and I will see you guys in our next video.